Hi and welcome to another edition of The Movie Wrap. I'm your host Adam Westcott and today we're going to be talking about a classic film, Der Untergang. Now if you haven't heard of it, you might have seen the clips of Hitler getting annoyed at different things like football results or ridiculous scenarios, which he wasn't actually if you understand German, but he just goes, Nein, das ist so which isn't actually German even though I speak German, but he gets annoyed and there's the viral video. So we're going to talk about Der Untergang, the last days of Hitler. If you haven't seen it, I'd highly recommend it. If you don't want to know about spoilers, you know, whether Hitler won or not, then don't watch. But if you do want to know, and if you don't care, please watch on. We're going to quickly recap the film Der Untergang. Now, it starts off roughly with the Germans at their height, and he gets a new secretary, and you see it from the perspective of the secretary who's telling you the story at the start. A bit like the whole Titanic thing with although it's fictional, Rose telling you the story of Titanic from her perspective and Jack and blah 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 blah. There kind of is no Fritz in this that is Jack. It's Der Untergang. It's the last days in the bunker, because it switches quickly to the last days in the bunker with Berlin surrounded either side by the Soviet soldiers, and they're getting child soldiers to help them and the old people, and they're destroying books and everything's just destroy everything. The people are on their own, the city's in ruins, and Hitler's sort of pretending everything's alright, he's got his health problems, and it's just about his mental, you know, disintegration really, because he sort of descends and has phantom platoons and phantom soldiers and phantom everything really. I mean, he just thinks he's still in control and can push them back, but they're literally at Berlin. I mean, if you know anything about European maps, when the Russians have got you from almost outside of Moscow to Berlin, I mean, you literally are like, okay, we're done. You're at an arm wrestle and you're literally that far from the table. I might even be being generous there. But, you know, you see all of his top generals, Himmler, Goebbels, etc. Now, Himmler wanted to do a deal with the Allies, which is true in real life. Not the best idea, because they weren't actually happy to deal with him once he'd signed the papers, because they were just like, ha-ha, we got ya. Didn't end well for him afterwards, even though you don't see that in Der Untergang. He just betrays him and Hitler hates it. Goebbels is dedicated to the cause, and you have the very, very, very sad scene where him and his wife, or his wife, but he knows it's happening, give the pill to his children to kill them, you know, because you don't want to live in a world, as his wife said, Was ist eine Welt ohne Nationalsozialismus? What is a world without National Socialism? You know, do they want to live in that? With the evil Americans and the evil Soviets. I'm alright with it, but, you know, maybe I'm just a Western pig. Who knows? But they don't want to do it. It's not actually a funny subject at all. I do want to say that is probably the saddest moment in it. The dog dying as well was very sad, although actually, for all the evil things that happened in World War II, the dog probably would have been mistreated, so actually that probably was one of the sensible things. Although if World War II hadn't have happened, the dog wouldn't have had to have died. There's a reason World War II couldn't have happened if anybody time travels back. Save Hitler's dog. He was innocent. Oh dear, that poor German shepherd. But probably necessary. Hitler kills himself, Eva Braun kills herself. You know, you see the story from some of the German perspectives, you see it from a medic's perspective, you see it just on the ground and people trying to have parties but then it being bombed, and it's a very surreal look at Berlin. It's a very surreal look at how Hitler goes absolutely mad, thinks he's in control even though he knows deep down he isn't. He knows it's all lost, and you see the other generals going, we can't have a repeat of World War I, because you've got to think they're all like, oh my god, this is happening again but 20 times worse. This is worse. Ha! At the start of the war we thought we were going to win. Now it's actually not only as bad as World War I but 20 times worse, because Germany flattened. Wasn't flattened in World War I, flattened this time. And they've got to rebuild, and they know it's all over, and they know they're not going to get treated well by the Allies. So, you know, the secretary gets away, because obviously she's talking in the documentary, well, the documentary part of this film, although it's a biopic, and it's just interesting to hear it, and she just was like, I was young, I didn't know, and I just was German, and that was that. He was in charge, and that was the end of it. And it's just a very powerful, emotive, just an emotive biopic, and it's not too long, it's not too draggy on. You get obviously the YouTube clips of Hitler getting mad at just about everything. So I'd give it, I'd say a 7.5 out of 10. I've seen better World War II films, but at the same time it was a fascinating look at the last days of Hitler, done at a very slow pace, as in the time moves slowly for a movie. So yeah, I was happy with it, and I found it a very fulfilling experience, but it was sad. as well as interesting. Well, I've been Adam Westgate. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, subscribe or comment. There's lots to comment about on this subject, so comment below. Thank you very much. See you again soon.